Hey guys, this is my Six Little Methods project. It's about coffee, so let's get into it. So here's my introduction page. Why I chose this topic or project. I chose this project because I love drinking coffee and trying new flavors of coffee, and wanted to see how much coffee my peers drink in a day. So the question I asked everyone was, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day? So the data I've gathered represents the number of cups of coffee on average each person drinks on average each day. I say on average because, sometimes you might drink three one day and two another. It just really depends. But so I asked, like, how much do you drink a day, usually? So what is your alpha and why? My alpha is 0.05, and this is because this is standard alpha in most statistics work. So for my sampling procedure, I use Instagram as a tool, and I use the poll-like thing for my story, and I titled it with the question, how many cups of coffee do you drink each day? And I gave everyone four options to choose from. Zero for people who drink no coffee a day, one for people who usually have at least one cup of coffee a day, two for those who have 2 cups of coffee a day, and lastly, three plus as an option for those who drink at least three or more cups of coffee each day. So who is the population? The population is all Americans who drink coffee or have ever tried coffee. So who is the sample? The sample is the 123 people who submitted an answer to my survey. Now, in order to avoid bias, I did my best to word the question so it wouldn't lead people to vote dishonestly. I also didn't tell people how to vote. The question is, how many cups of coffee do you drink each day? And I made sure to not say how much I drink each day. Also, I let anyone from all ages, gender, ethnicities to answer the poll, and everyone did so voluntarily. So I wouldn't expect who would submit an answer. So here's my data. This is what the Instagram poll looked like once it was expired. So my survey finished with a total of 123 total responses. There were 63 votes for 0, 34 votes for 1, and 17 votes for 2, and lastly 9 votes for 3 or more cups of coffee. So here's that data put into a graph. As you can see, the biggest slice in this pie chart is the green slice, which is those who voted for 0 cups of coffee each day, which turned out being 51.2%. The second biggest, as you can see, is the red orangey color, which is those who drink 1 cup of coffee each day, which was 27.6%, 13.8% for those who drink at least 2 a day, and lastly, 3 or more, it was 7.3%. So my hypothesis testing. So according to research, I found from Drive Research, about 49% of Americans drink at least 3 cups of coffee each day. So my null hypothesis was P equals 0.49. This is a proportion of Americans who drink at least 3 cups of coffee each day, which was about 49%. So my alternative hypothesis was that the P was less than 0.49%. So the proportion of Americans who drink at least 3 cups of coffee a day was less than 49%. So my random sample, I didn't expect who was going to answer, and it was done randomly. And observations are independent from each other. Large sample, as you can see with the math right here, its population is bigger than the sample. And big population, as you see, that the population was big enough from this math right here. So all conditions are met. So right here is all the math here. We have the mean, or the population mean, sample mean, the amount of people who answered, my alpha, my standard error right here, my z, and my p-value, which was essentially 0. It was like less than 0.001, as you can see. And that's why in this, when it's graphed, you can tell that there's like virtually like no shading, which is why, because the p-value is so small. So yeah. So here's my conclusion page. As you can see, we do reject the null hypothesis. There's statistically enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. So we can conclude that the proportion of Americans who drink 3 or more cups of coffee a day is less than 49%. Here's the 95% confidence interval right here from the calculator. So we can say we are 95% confident that the proportion of Americans who drink 3 or more cups a day is between 2.7% and 11.9%. And then my last slide is just my sources where I got so here's my last page. These are just the sources that I used. Right here, you may see this one. It's called SlidesGo, which is what I use as a template for all my slides. And this is what I use for my research.